Let God bless you and welcome to my YouTube channel. Now, there is something I want you to understand. Everything on earth have its source. Now, when God created the earth, created the heavens, and started creating trees, animals, men, and the fishes in the sea, God depended on a particular source to call each thing that He created into existence. Now, God depended on the waters to create the land. So it means that the earth, the land, can only survive through the waters. When God created the trees, He went to the earth and created the trees from the earth. It also means that the trees can only survive through the earth. If you separate the tree from the earth, the tree will die. When He created the fishes, He went to the water and called out fishes and other amphibious animals. When you separate fish from the water, the fish will die. But when it came to man, God said, "Let us make man in our image and after our likeness." So, God Himself is the source of man. It means the survival of man, the preservation of man depends on his connection to his source. Now, these other animals, trees, fishes, were not created with a will. They were not created with the ability to make choice. Man is the only being God created with the ability to make choice and with a will. So the life and the destiny of that man depends on his choice. So man can choose to separate himself from God and eventually dies. He can also choose to live a life that is contrary to his own source and also die. Now, because fishes don't have choice to separate themselves from their source, if you separate them from the water, they will react immediately to show you. They will start looking for water. If water is close, they will start jumping jump into the water because they know that their survival is in the water. Now, you might have been living without connecting to your source or realigning with your source. And sometimes you might think you are living because you are going out in the morning and you are coming back in the evening. Maybe you are doing business, you are a career person, or you are talented, or you are one thing or the other. You might even be a politician. You might even be very rich. But the truth is, you have not started living until you start living from your source. You can't say I'm living when you are completely disconnected from your source. So how are you sure that the life you are living is the life that is ordained for you by your source? The enemy, the devil, is subtle, and he knows that the only way to kill a man is to separate him from his source. Don't forget that when Adam left the Garden of Eden, he didn't die the same day. He lived for many years before he died. And those that came after Adam also lived before they died. the number, the age started reducing until the age reduced to 120, until it reduced to 70. Now, in our own time, the life expectancy of some people in Africa is less than 70 years, like in Nigeria. That means if somebody live up to 60, 70, people will see him that he has tried. To tell you that there is a number of time a man will stay outside his source, and the next thing that will happen is death, just like the fish. If you separate the fish from the water, it doesn't die immediately. The fish might survive for another 5 hours. You separate a tree from the ground, the tree might stay for 24 hours before it will start showing sign of death. That's what happens to man. So a life that is lived outside God is a life that is lived in death. You can still be a Christian. You can still be a born again without living from God, your source. It is possible. You can be going to the church without even having any form of connection with God. I would say a true believer should live in God, move in God, and have his being in God. Now, if it is in him that live, if it is in him we move, if it is in him we have our being, there are some certain things that is not expected to happen to us. I want you to think about this. Think about it. You live in God who is the Alpha and Omega. You live in God who owns the earth and everything in it. You live in God that have life in himself. You live in God that is the light of the world. And yet you are sick. Yet you are poor. Yet you are ignorant. Yet you are intimidated. Yet you suffer inferiority complex. Yet you are depressed. Yet anxiety has taken over your life. You are not yet living in him. There are some pressure you will not be into if you are living in God. So you need to make a conscious effort to return back to source. The prodigal son started living in want, started living in hunger until he returned back to source. Outside source, he was hungry. Outside source, he struggled. Outside source, he desired to feed with swine. Outside source, he was naked. But when he returned back to source, he was clothed, he was bettered, and he was fed. He was given a shoe that will cover his feet and to prepare him for another inheritance. All who live from God, who is this, their source, don't face some certain challenges. And even if those challenges comes their way, there will always be a way of escape. The reason why it was impossible for the pain of death to keep Jesus is because it is not possible for a man that is living from God and living in God to be and remain in the grave. It's not possible. Death can only kill those that are separated from their source. So this is my advice. Return back to source. Return back to root. And your life will never remain the same. Shalom.